Hey guys, J0, how you doing? I hope all is well in YouTube land, whatever part of the world that you are in. Okay, one of my favorite things is pork chops, and one of my favorite ways to cook the aforementioned pork chops is fried, pan fried, chicken fried, skillet fried, however fried you want to call it. I love them that way, so let's get into it. What I have here, I have my 12-inch cast iron skillet. Debbie B, thank you very much. This is the handiest thing. She ripped up some old t-shirts and made this handle cover. You know, when I first got this in the package, guys, and I seen the shape of it, and I was like, you know, that's very flattering. Might be a little large, but okay. And then my roommate Mary was like, idiot, it goes on the handle of the cast iron skillet so you don't have to use a rag all the time. Very cool. Thank you very much. I love it. It's awesome. Okay, pork chops. There we go. We have a pork chop. Beautiful, nice center cut pork chops with the bone in. You can cook any kind of pork chop that you want. You know, if you don't have the bone, you just get a pork loin, however it is, whatever. That's fine. We have just some regular beaten eggs. And here we have all-purpose flour that has salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion, whatever kind of seasoning you like in your breading. Throw it in there, man, because it's all good. So we dunk our pork chop in the egg wash. You can add a little bit of milk, a little bit of buttermilk if you like. It'd be just fine. Put it into the flour mixture. Cover it up. Put a nice coating on it. In our skillet here, you can use vegetable oil. You can use olive oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you like. Me, myself, anytime we cook bacon, we keep the bacon grease right here in a jar, and this is what we're using to fry our pork chops in it, and it is scrum-diddly-umptious. Put a thin coating like that on there. And in our 12-inch, we can usually put 3 pork chops that'll fry. These pork chops are about a ½ inch thick, and we are going to let them cook for about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes per side before they'll be done. If you have those great big large pork chops, then you'll need to let them cook a little bit longer for them to be done all the way through. Also, another little trick is if your pork chop starts boiling up in the middle around the edge, you'll notice on your pork chops that there is a fat ring around the edge. If your pork chop starts doing one of these numbers as it cooks, then just take a little knife and cut that fat ring, and it'll go ahead and lay back down and cook evenly. Also, if you cook it a little bit lower temperature, it won't curl up on you as bad, rather if you're trying to cook it on high temperature. We have our skillet on medium heat. We let it warm up, of course, before we start cooking in it for a few minutes. We let it get good and hot, then we add our grease, and then we add our pork chops. And as you can see, we have 3 nice big pork chops in the skillet cooking. Oh, I pulled all the breading off of that one. I'm going to put some more on there. There we go. All right, so we let these cook about 2.5, 3 minutes on each side. And now you see why I wear the gloves, because it will make a mess. 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, it all depends, and then we'll flip them, and another 2.5 minutes, and we will see you whenever we put one on a plate in about 5 minutes when they're done. Woo! Alright, you can see we're at about almost the 3-minute mark now. We're just taking our tongs and gently turning them over. You don't want to be splashing your grease every which way. Gently turning them over, and if you have a little bit of flour, a little bit of crumblies in your grease, that's okay, because you could always add a little bit more butter and a little bit of milk or a little bit of water to this, a little bit of chicken broth, whatever it is that you like to make gravy with, and make you some gravy for the top of it. Oh man, is it good. We're not going to, but it's very easy to do. You have already your bacon fat, your oil, add a little bit of more fat, a little bit of flour, a little bit of milk. Good stuff. All right, there you have it. We are now at, like I said, 3 minutes. Flip them over. We'll see you in 3 minutes. Okay, guys, here we are. We're about 3 minutes or so. They are nice and golden brown and delicious. Man alive, they are. Oh, they're so good. So now we're just going to put them on a plate. And what we're going to do is we still have one batch left to cook. And we're going to make, I guess we're going to go ahead and make gravy just because I got myself thinking about gravy and oh, I love it. So we're just going to set our plate in the oven. Oven is not on. It's just a place to set them to keep them from getting cold while we're waiting for the last batch to cook and the gravy. So we will see you when this next batch is done. and we start making some skillet gravy. Oh yeah, baby! Ah. Okay, guys, so we got our pork chops are done now. We're gonna let them ride out down here in the oven so they don't get cold. The oven is not on. Now we're gonna use the same skillet. Don't clean out your skillet, all those little crunchies and stuff. You're gonna want those in there, man. It's gonna make awesome gravy. I put in a quarter stick of butter, 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to let that melt down in there. Meanwhile, we're going to use the flour that we have left over from the frying process. It's got all them good seasonings in it. We're going to put in probably a quarter of a cup, I would say, roughly a quarter of a cup. And then we're just going to make our roux with that. We've got our grease, we've got our pork chop drippings, we've got 2 tablespoons of butter, and 1/4 cup of flour in here. And there's going to be a lot of people freak out because I'm making gravy in my cast iron skillet. If your skillet is properly seasoned, you can make gravy in it all day long and it will not stick. Season your cast iron right way because you won't be sorry, because cast iron cooking rules. Alright, so we're going to let our flour thicken up. We may have to add a little bit more flour, and it looks like we're going to have to. So I'm just going to add another spoonful of flour in here until this gets thick. So we are probably now at in between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of flour. Turn my skillet down to about I don't know, it's going to be in between number 3 and number 4 on my stove. So I guess that's what, medium low. You don't want to scorch your flour. You don't want to scorch your grease. Be careful when you're cooking, whether it be chicken or pork chops or chicken fried steaks, whatever it is that you're cooking. You want to kind of be careful not to scorch your grease in the cooking process because it'll taste nasty if you're going to make gravy with it. So we are now at about 1/2 cup of flour, I'm going to say. Yep, 1/2 cup. We're going to get a nice and sticky, gooey roux going on here. We're going to let it cook a little bit to try to get, cook out that flour flavor that's in there. You can see that it's starting to get sticky and it's starting to get like a paste, and that's what you want to see. Using my whisk here just to keep moving it around so that it doesn't scorch to the bottom of the pan, and if it doesn't scorch, then tastes like scorched crappy gravy. And it already smells good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. We're still going to call it 1/2 cup, just because I'm not confident that it wasn't any more than 1/2 cup. But you can see how I'm making my gravy, y'all. There's no really standard recipe. You can start out with 1/2 cup or 1/4 cup and keep adding to it as you need it. You can always add a little more to it, but you can't take it out once you put too much in. And you can see how it's clinging, and everything at the bottom of the pan, see, it's coming right up, sticking into the gravy. That's going to all add flavor to your gravy. All those little cracklings and crumblings. All right, now we've got our little pasty roux. I like to use milk. I like creamy gravy. So we're going to use whole milk. We're going to add cold whole milk into the skillet. It will blend up easier when it's cold and the skillet is hot. And this is probably going to be maybe 3 cups worth or so of gravy that we're going to start with. Well, start with 2. I would say start with 2 cups of milk and go from there if you're not used to making gravy. And then just work your whisk all around, bust up the chunks, and let it start thickening. If it gets really, really thick and pasty, add a little bit more milk. What you want to try to avoid doing with your gravy is making it too runny to where you have to add flour or cornstarch or something to thicken it up. That's what you're trying to avoid whenever you're making your roux and adding your first batch of milk. So now we're just going to keep stirring and keep stirring and keep stirring, and it will take a couple of minutes. We're just going to keep stirring and keep stirring until it gets to the thickness that we want. And probably about the time that the gravy comes to a boil and starts bubbling, it'll be the thickness that we want. I'm probably going to go ahead and add a little bit more milk to it. So that's probably going to put us close to, I would say for this big 12-inch skillet, probably close to 4 cups or so of milk for the gravy. And this will be our fried pork chop gravy. Actually, I don't know if I want to add any more milk or not. It's starting to look real good. And yeah, it's going to be a little crunchy and a little lumpy because of the little crackling fried bits that's still in there. Stir, stir, stir. Don't let your gravy burn. Don't let your gravy burn. It's going to be just a little bit thick. So I'm going to go ahead and add about another half a cup of milk to it or so. Stir it in, work it in. Man, it smells good. At any point now, you can kind of just take your little spoon or your little finger, whatever it is, and give it a taste test to see if you need to add any more salt or any more pepper. Very probably you will not if you use your seasoned flour, but it's always good to check it out anyway. So I'm going to keep stirring here. This will probably take about another, I don't know, minute and a half. And I just don't want to bore the crap out of everybody by sitting here talking about absolutely nothing while we're waiting on the gravy to boil. So we'll see you guys in about a minute when the gravy's done. And if it gets too thick, we'll add a little bit more milk, but probably not. We'll see how it looks. Okay guys, you see we got our fried pork chop. We got some mashed potatoes here. We left room for a little bit of corn. Our gravy is done. Here's what our gravy's done. We're just going to put some on top of our taters. And if you're like me, you're going to put a little bit of gravy on top of your chop. Man alive, it smells good. You know what? I'm going to try this gravy out and see how it came out here. That's a happy fat guy right there, y'all. There you go. I gotta finish the video. If I can do it, really, you guys can do it too. If you have a skillet and some chops and some flour and some oil, you can make fried pork chops. You can make gravy. It's really, really good. It's really, really easy. Just takes a little bit of time. And man, it is well worth it because holy crap, that's good gravy. And it's good pork chop. So, you guys, thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Give it a shot. God bless. The end. Buzz, buzz. The end.